abuses of history. History is not merely a study of the events of the past, it is also the link between the past and the present and guide for the future. As a record of human experience, history has influenced human behavior through the ages. History is a guide to mankind. As a record of man's work, his achievements, gains and glories, as well as follies and failures, history reflects the thought over centuries. It helps to understand the human behavior and serves as guide for the study of human conduct. It deals with the development of thought and ideas. Man is a unique creature. He learns not only from his experience, but also others' experience. He learns not only from his living period, but also from the previous ages. George Satyana, in his book Reason in Common Sense, says, when experience is not retained as among savages, infancy is perpetual. Those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it. History is useful for the progress of man. Without history, we shall be in danger of being deceived. The beauty of cities, magnificent monuments are appreciated better if the stories behind them are known. Example, a study of medieval trade guild is useful to understand the present-day industrial relations, and that of the market regulations of Sultan Alauddin Khilji is needed to evaluate the price controls of our times. John Seeley has stated that when we learn history, we do not learn the past, but the future. Intellectual value of history. History teaches wisdom by examples of time and men. It furnishes examples of great men who experienced challenges and attained successful ultimately. There are men who failed, but they serve as warning. The curiosity of the Greeks led them to the study of the celestial phenomena, and that of the European adventurers to the discovery of remote lands. History has educative value. A study of historical anecdote, analogies, and episodes gives to the intellect the delight which the stories and the literature together can imprint. Frequently, they are used as themes of drama, novels, and other literary works. It serves as an introduction to various branches of study. A knowledge of history is essential for an understanding of the subject like biology, economics, politics, literature, anthropology in their perspective. History develops reasoning and criticism. According to Gailey, in his Use and Abuses of History, criticism is the first duty of independent scholarship. Reason and criticism are two important aspects of Western civilization. A study of history and analysis of historical developments promote powers of reasoning and criticism. The people of medieval Europe studied the history of classical Greece and Rome and took a new interest in their achievements. This resulted in the Renaissance as well as Reformation. The scientific spirit of modern Europe emerged in the background of historical studies. History teaches moral and ethical values. Persons with nobility and worth are admired, and those who with opportunism are condemned. It furnishes varied and valuable information on human behavior. History shows how princes have experienced justice, benevolence, and thereby made the people happy. It also says how many princes have indulged in wickedness and cruelty by which they have ruined their lives. A study of noble characters and enlightened reformers, heroes, influences and inspires individuals as well as societies. Socrates, he was noted for his conviction. Jesus Christ for the concept of love. Florence Nightingale for devotion. Mahatma Gandhi for the ideal of peace. Historical knowledge arms conscience with illustrious instances of noble deeds and has tended to serve as a substitute for old classical discipline. History guides government and administration. It guides the administrators in undertaking reforms. It serves the rulers, conquerors, diplomats and administrators also. It furnishes example and warning to statesmen. For the Greeks and the Romans, it is the storehouse of political and ethical maxims. History cannot predict the future, but it can guide the leaders towards future. Failures are the pillars of success. So man learns through errors and failures. Germany suffered reverse in Russia because Hitler failed to understand the results of Napoleon Bonaparte's campaign to Moscow. When Napoleon Bonaparte campaigned against Russia, during winter he failed miserably even though he conquered all the other places. The same mistake was repeated by Hitler, and that was a great failure for him. India suffered in Chinese war because Nehru failed to learn from the Central Asian policy of the British. Since the administrators do not learn from history, they commit the same errors. Appreciation of human dignity and democratic rights. Ancient times, the people, whether they lived in forest or they were nomads, they enjoyed certain fundamental rights. But the growth of princely influence and princely states, it violated human dignity. In the name of spiritual devotion and political loyalty, the priest and the princes, they deprived the people of their rights. Centuries later, when people started to read history and learn from historical examples, that the ancient people enjoyed all the rights and they were deprived by the nobles and the priests. As a consequence, there came an awakening among the masses, outbreak of revolutions, and recovery of lost rights. Example is French Revolution, American War of Independence, etc. Where historical studies are popular, human rights are better understood and human dignity is better respected, and where they are not, reverse is the case. India historical studies can promote the consideration of democratic institution against the threat of aggressors and authoritarian government. As a conclusion, study of history, it broadens the mind, enlarges the sympathies, and quickens the imagination. Mind becomes populated with many noble and great ideas. History deepens the interest of mankind. A Roman poet says, "I am a man, and nothing human is foreign to me." Thank you. If you want to know more about the uses of history, you can refer the books written by G. Collingwood, The Idea of History, Sheikh Ali, Historiography and Historical Methods, S. Manikam, Theory of History and Method of Research, N. Subramanian, Historiography and Historical Methods, K. Rajayan, History of Theory and Method. Thank you.